Well, hello, welcome back to another episode of 060, and the 135 is back in the shed. Now this car, it was a long time ago, we actually started the 8HP project where I was going to try and get an 8HP in this car working on a stock TCU. It took me about a day to realise that the F-Series TCU will not communicate with an E-Series car. I was hoping to flash the software from an E-Series TCU onto an F-Series TCU, but it ain't going to work. Completely different communication protocols. It's not going to work. However, what I will say with this, two other people have contacted me since that video went live, and they have E-Series 8HPs running behind N54s. Not error-free yet, but they're getting close, and hopefully in the next week or two, I reckon I'll get another message saying we've gotten rid of the error codes. But both cars, they're using E70 X5 8HP TCUs in rear-wheel drive transmissions, and basically they're just swapping all of the E70 modules into the car to get it to work. It's going to take some coding, some ZUB upgrades, but I reckon they're going to get there. But the cars are driving. They're operating with stock TCUs and that 8HP. Now, if you live in a country where E-Series 8HPs are pretty much non-existent, like we are in Australia, the easiest and quickest way to do this, I think, is the Turbo Lamec controller. There is the I'm not going to pronounce it right, Canperformance? I'm so sorry, Kenneth. Now, there is Canvas controller, which you can basically use a factory F-Series TCU and run it in an E-Series car, and his controller basically works as a gateway or a bridge, and it converts all the F-Series signals to E-Series signals, and that works quite well. The reason we haven't gone with that in this car is it is a performance car, and we want trans brake. And the control that you get with the Turbo Lamec is infinite. You can really make the gearbox do whatever you want it to do when you want it to do it. The downside is maybe it's not quite as refined as using a factory TCU, but to be fair, the Flomax car, I'd say it's about 90% there, and it's just going to take a little bit more tweaking since we kind of burnt out one of those clutch packs a little bit. Anyway, let's get on with it. So, my stock of Turbo Lamec controllers turned up last week, and I would have liked to have gotten onto this earlier, but we've had just problem after problem. Not with this car, but with other cars. In fact, let me share some dilemma. This is the crank hub, or the crank pulley, off of the Evo. I got the Evo back on the road, and it decided it didn't want to be a pulley anymore, so that was 2 days of messing around to get that replaced. This is the Flomax car's power steering pump. Not the Flomax car's power steering pulley, but this thing decided to really start knocking on Sunday. In fact, you might be able to hear it. You can't really hear it. But trust me, it's knocking, so I swapped the power steering, and when I was doing the power steering swap, I noticed the radiator was leaking. So that's why there's not been a video. It's just been days of maintenance, sorting out things that aren't that interesting. But yesterday, we got this in, and I've started on this. So I got this is an 8HP 45 from a F30 335, so an N55 car. Hopefully it's all going to bolt in. We are going to have to change the output shaft, but we will document that when the time comes. This is the mechatronics unit, and this is the TCU. You will see we have the Ryotech board soldered in, and I've got to be honest, I must just not be very good at soldering, or I'm still using the wrong stuff. I went and bought leaded solder from J-Car, and they said this is the stuff to use, but getting this solder to stick to the pads was still a bit of a nightmare. It was a little bit better than the last one I did, but I don't know. Maybe I've got to get a better soldering. I don't know. I don't know why it's so hard. Everybody says soldering these boards in should be really easy. I just cannot get the solder to stick to the pads. But it's on there. It is a better job than I did last time, and we've had no issues with that. So first thing we're going to do is actually power this up and see if we get any error codes. So this is Dave's TCU. I'll just like to make a note. Lamec has got new boxes, so he is developing stuff. Oh, there goes the power. He is developing bits and pieces. So we've got all the error code things, some stickers. Okay, so unboxing the Lamec. So this is going to be the one we're going to run on this car, and it will need a software update, but we should be able to do the error code. In fact, I'm going to use two hands. This is the 6HP to 8HP, or whichever way around it goes, wiring harness for this car. Let me get it all unboxed, set up, and we'll do a test. Alright, so the TCU is back on the mechatronics. 8HP is plugged in. TCU is plugged in, the screen is plugged in, the rotary program selector is plugged in. We've got the power source coming from here, and it's just going into the 6HP connector. I've basically just got the 15 wake up connected, which is pin 9. Actually double check that if you're doing this. The main power, and then the two earths, which are all required for this to work. We've got the F-Series. This is an I think it's a 135 or a 235 shifter. The wiring should be correct, and this should be pre-programmed for an F-Series shifter, so we'll see if it powers up. We'll see if we're getting errors. Okay. Code 33, that's CAN bus to the car. Oh, 138, 148. Okay. So, code 33, I was expecting that means it's not connected to a car, but error code 138 and 148, I will have to Google, because they're quite high, and they're not on the normal error code list. Alright, let's see what that is. Well, it's about 4 hours since you last saw me. I've redone soldering, I've gone through and I've checked resistance between these pins here, the pins on the solenoid, and I couldn't work it out. Error codes are not listed for 138 and 148. As you can see, they are the ones that we have. Hopefully the GoPro is going to work. However, 137 is a short to ground and 147 is a short to ground. So I was assuming there's something wrong in here. Yeah, so I'm just doubting myself, which is something that every mechanic should probably do. However, I went and grabbed another TCU. So this is a huge advantage to the setup that we've currently got going on here, having a spare TCU on hand. So I'll just power this one down, and disconnect, new one in, and power it up. And error 33, which is the CAN bus error. But that's it. So that error 138 and 148 don't come up in this TCU, but they do in that one. So I've loaded a backup onto that one from the Flomax car. And in fact, that is a carbon copy of the Flomax TCU right now. And it gets those errors. So something weird going on. TurboLamic don't list those errors. I'm sure they'll reply to me when they wake up what's going on. But it does mean we can move forwards and actually put the epoxy in, which I thought I was going to be doing about 4 hours ago. Bugger. Anyway, slightly annoying, but it is what it is. These are electronics. Yes. In fact, I might load a backup onto this, just make sure we get the shifter to work. Alright, you guys can watch that. So, and actually what I'll do is I will connect to Zilamic. I won't load a backup because that one I did actually go through and I've updated it. It's got the newest firmware. Like I said, it's a carbon copy of the one that we're running in the Flomax car. This is just out of the box from TurboLamic. If I just connect, that is connected. We will download the map. And what I want to change is, if I go to CAN, and it's currently set to F-Series, we will set it to an E-Series shifter, save, upload, and will the shifter turn on? It does! However, will it let me shift? No, it will not. Oh, come on. Okay. So something that was throwing me off as well, which I organised off camera, sorry about the rain. This, I bought it as an F-Series shifter, but it's not. It's a DCT shifter, I think. I mean, it doesn't have the chrome like a DCT, but it's got the electronic, it's got the cable lock for park. So I don't really know what this shifter is, but anyway, it works as an E-Series shifter, not an F-Series shifter, powers up, but it won't let me select gears. Where I'm pretty sure I should be able to select neutral. Anyway, I'll see you guys in a minute. Okay, so the board is cleaned up. I just cleaned it with some contact cleaner and blown it all out. It's dry, and I've done 4 tests. No fault codes, no error codes with this TCU. We get weird error codes with that TCU. Hopefully it's fine. I've got to get on with this. So I'm going to pot it. Now, I couldn't find the potting compound, or I shouldn't say couldn't find. The place where I got the potting compound that I used on the Flomax car, they didn't have any in stock. So this stuff I've seen a few people using it on the HTG group, and we'll give it a go. Yeah, hopefully it's fine. I don't really know, but we'll see how we go. One thing that is different about this, it doesn't list that it's specifically safe against chemicals, but it meets the requirements for temperature. Let's just do it, see what happens. All right, one good thing about this, you literally just add the little twist nozzle on this little thing and it mixes as you go. So I'm gonna stand you guys up and you can watch me do it. All right, it's as clean as it's gonna be. So with this stuff, you just twist this off. It's probably not spill any in the mechatronics. And then you twist this one on. And we'll see if we can get this on camera, and it should actually mix as it goes down. Okay, so it does say to extract a little bit into a off to the side just to make sure it's mixed. Yeah, she's mixed. Okay. Let's see how much I shake doing this. It's quite runny compared to the other stuff that I used, which I think I like better. And I'm just going to do a little bit down here again. Guys, that looks pretty good to me. This stuff is way more runny than the other stuff I used. And yeah, it's leveled off quite nicely. I can see a couple of bubbles. But I'm going to leave it. I'm happy with that. All right. Okay, so I've moved it there. That epoxy, which, let me read out the name, it's MG Chemicals 832HD. It's way more runny than the other stuff that I used, and I think that's got to be better. It's got to get under the PCB a little bit better, and maybe in all the joints. Like, I've had no issues with the other one, but this is definitely more runny, and I've just seen the slowest spill of my life. It's actually spilt over off this corner here, so I've moved it just off of there so that it can set safely and it's not going to hurt the mechatronics. But guys, this video has not gone to plan. I was hoping to get a lot more done. But I want to get some footage out to you guys. But yeah, we've had a bit of an issue with the Lamech itself. I think I will update. I'll probably put in a comment when I get a response from Turbo Lamech what those error 138 and 148 actually mean. But yeah, it's interesting that it only happens on that TCU, not this one. One of these TCUs was set up to go in a car with a standalone TCU, so maybe it's a setting change, although I would have thought loading the firmware and the backup file from the Flomax car onto that one would have fixed it. I don't know. I'm learning as we go. Don't know what it is. Anyway, video's done. I'm going to get it uploaded, and hopefully we'll have the 8 HP in this car in a couple of days. See how we go.